Alright, so now we're going to talk about the HVR-Z1U. This is one of the first professional level cameras that came out after prosumer cameras made the jump to HD. I think it came out in 2005, but even still today it's used by a lot of event and corporate videographers and still a great workhorse camera. Some of the benefits are that it's very easy to use, it's easy to learn. It records on the tape, which is comforting because you actually have an automatic backup of everything that you're not going to lose. The drawbacks are that it's HDV, so it's not good in low light performance, and because it's one of the earlier HD cameras, it only has HDV 1080-60i as the recording option. So it's limited in terms of your record format. The first thing we're going to do is to insert the battery, like that. And you can also run it off of battery power, in which case you would plug this in, turn on the camera, open up the LCD. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is plug in the audio. I'm going to take a shotgun. Plug the shotgun into channel 1, input 1. Now we're going to plug in a wireless, and we need to actually have an adapter to mount the wireless on this camera. So I'm going to put the adapter on, and then I'm going to slide this onto here, bring the connection cord around the side, and plug it in. So our settings are right here, and we can choose whether mic, line, or mic plus 48 volt phantom power. We've got audio showing on the screen, we've got everything plugged in, and I've got a flashing light in the middle of the screen that tells me I have no tape. So I need to open up the tape holder on the side. Now with this, there's a tape holder that physically comes up, and then once you put the tape in and close the latch, it physically goes down. You have to wait until it goes down before you can close the thing again. And now we're ready to go. There are a couple of menu settings that you need to be aware of. When you use the menu, it's the middle menu button. It's not the picture profile at the top or the P menu at the bottom. And we have a lot of settings here. This camera is mostly controlled by the settings in the camera in terms of the setup. The audio is important with this camera to pay attention to, so I choose the audio button, and then I want to go down to mic select. I can choose XLR or I can choose internal mic. If I choose internal mic, it applies to both mics. It's not one, so you can't pick and choose. You have to do all external or all internal. So I choose XLR, and then I choose XLR set. I want to choose channel select, and in this case I want to choose channel 1, which you'll see on the screen it says input 1 goes to channel 1, input 2 goes to channel 2. If I switch over and do channel 1, channel 2, input 1 goes to both channels, which is typically not what I want. The other thing that I might want to do is to set the record format. With this camera, in the days of HD, I'm almost always going to choose HDV record format, so I'm not going to mess with that. And I'm going to return and get out of the menu. You can see here it's showing HDV rather than DV, so we're going to be shooting in HDV. The next thing we want to do is to be able to set manual and auto settings. We want to have some manual controls, so we take the switch on the side here, it's the auto manual switch, we take it off of auto lock and send it to the center position, which is right here, not all the way to the hold because we want to set the settings first. The thing to remember about this camera is that everything is going to be automatic unless you press the button, and then some of the other things are going to compensate for it if you do. So I'm pressing each one of these buttons, and you can see that the lights are coming on, and then when I press the button again, they go off. So here we've got the iris, and we've got the iris ring back right here. We can change the iris setting when we've got a manual iris. Next we push the gain, and we've got the gain switch right here, shutter speed, and the shutter speed is controlled by this jog wheel in the back. And then we've got white balance. So we push the white balance button, and then we choose A or B, and then we press white balance to white balance the camera. We have our ND filter off 1 or 2 right here, and we've got a number of buttons that we can assign. So right now I've got assign button 1 assigned to spotlight function. I've got assign button number 2 assigned to backlight function. If you want to do peaking or zebra, that's on the back of the camera right here. So we've got autofocus versus manual focus, and we've got the focus ring right here. We've got a lever on the side here that lets us choose whether we're going to use the zoom ring or the lever and remote. So if I want to use the zoom ring, I move it forward and I can zoom with the ring, and the lever doesn't have any effect. If I move it to the back, I can't do anything with the zoom ring, but the lever will take me in and out of zoom. We have record button here, and you can see it switches from standby to record. Since this is tape, if you haven't recorded recently, it can take 4 or 5 seconds to switch to record. So give yourself enough time, and then when you capture, you can lose a few seconds capturing. So make sure that you give yourself enough front end and back end on the end of each shot. There's a record button up here. We can use this one. You can see it came on much faster once I've been recording for a couple minutes. If I'm at the job and I want to see what I actually shot, I'm going to switch from camera to VCR on the side here. And you'll see the VCR comes on. And then I've got to rewind the tape. And then I can play what I recorded. Okay, so if we need to get the footage off the camera, we plug the firewire cable here. It's a 4-pin firewire. You need to have a computer with a firewire connection, and then you want to do a log and capture on your NLE in the computer. If there's any problems with it, make sure that your camera and your NLE are both set to the same format, which is going to be HDV60i in this case, and fiddle with the settings if necessary, because if you have problems capturing, it's typically because some setting in there isn't quite right, and I'm not going to go into the settings right now for the purpose of this. So I guess we're done. Thanks for watching.